What's going on, guys? It's your boys from the sidelines. We're back here. We just missed last week, so we're just going to recap the Super Bowl really quickly. Not a lot to say anymore. It's old news, other than the holding call in the fourth quarter. I hate the fucking penalties, man, that's been happening this year. Because, granted, he did grab him and stuff, but I don't know. To lose a game because of a call like that in the Super Bowl, to me, is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I fell asleep because I was tired, but I fell asleep, but I did watch that play specifically. He did grab him, but it was like barely. He held him for like not even a second. And plus, this happened last year in the Super Bowl too, when the Rams were going downfield. There was a really dumb holding call, if I'm not mistaken, that ended up giving the Rams they ended up scoring a touchdown, which gave them the lead, which ended up making them win. Um, but even besides that, because I still think the NFL's rigged. So there was that huge thing on the internet. The Eagles were going to win 37-34. They obviously didn't. The score ended up being 38-35. That's a 1 point difference on both ends. And they flipped it so the Chiefs would win in this case, not the Eagles did.
Agent, you've got a grace problem. L'Oreal Men.
Yeah, dude, I just don't agree with the little touchy penalties like that too, especially because of the game Jalen Hurts played, dude. It was really disappointing to see him play probably the best game of his career so far, all around. No picks, 300 yards passing. He had the three rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Especially the last one, the last rushing
People,
touchdown he had.
I think people were saying arguably that might have been the best performance by a quarterback in a Super Bowl. Just because of his rushing touchdown. He had three rushing touchdowns. Yeah, he just had a really good game.
See, granted, I don't agree with how they lost, but yeah, if they would have won anyway, I would have said that. God, man, these ads keep playing. I'm about to stop using ESPN in the background for this. It's like the second time that fucking ads came on blaring, but yeah, if they would have won, undoubtedly probably would have been one of the best performances by a quarterback all time, but
right,
that's what makes it even worse that they lost because of that penalty pretty much 100%.
and also to add on top of the fact of that Jackson Mahomes now gets to make TikToks about it is even worse. Like, no one wants to see that.
Yeah, that equally as annoying. And I know neither of us hate Patrick Mahomes. He's obviously generational talent, has great chance to be
intense volume.
probably one of the best quarterbacks all time. I mean, I would say he's already a top 5 most talented all time.
I would say. Do you think if he retired right now, he'd make the Hall of Fame?
I would say for sure.
I mean, he's on track. I forget what the stat was because how old is he? 27. I think it was something to do with his stats by this age. He has the best stats by anyone 27, or who is up to the age of 27, ever. He's on track to probably break, unless he gets hurt or something or whatever. But he's on track to probably be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that's 3 Super Bowl appearances, and he's won 2 of them now at 27. Yeah. And he's still got probably, especially in today's league, if he doesn't get hurt, he's probably still got 6 or, not 6, probably 7 or 8 more, great seasons left.
Yeah, I was going to say he might be in the league for another, 10 plus years, potentially. He might, be 38, 39 by the time he's done.
Because, I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers right now. Granted, they didn't even make the playoffs this year, but he's 39, isn't he?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Tom Brady was 45, although that's kind of an obscure. That doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, that's the anomaly. But, I mean, for sure, it's no hate on him or Travis Kelce or anybody else on the Chiefs because, I mean, can't deny that they're a great team either. But anytime a call like that happens, dude, I don't even care if I'm not a fan. I hate to see football games get lost, especially a Super Bowl that was still a great game regardless, but I don't know. It's just upsetting.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, like I said, that happened last year in the Super Bowl too. I don't know if you remember. It was a holding call on the Bengals, and then I think a play or two later, the I think it was Cooper Kupp. He scored a touchdown to give them the lead.
I remember the Cup touchdown. I don't even remember the play exactly because I was extremely intoxicated pulling for the Bengals. I remember everything in the moment because I was
I, I think that's what it was. It was a holding call on
devastated.
Cooper Kupp, actually, and then the very next play or something, they threw a pass right back to him, and it was a touchdown.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's the same way.
yeah,
We'll carry it over to the NBA here too because we're not going to talk too long about it. But I did want to say this thing that's been bothering me about the NBA too. That for like the last probably 3 to 5 seasons, especially now, the fouls and the techs and everything have just been ridiculous to me. It's like
yeah.
it doesn't ruin the game because I still like watching it and everything, but it's just hard to watch sometimes when you see somebody get teed up for saying one thing back to the ref.
Yeah, I've seen some. I know this is a while ago. There was that girl ref. I don't know her name, but it was Chris Paul. Was talking to his teammate supposedly. This is according to him. He's talking to his teammate, and she teed him up for saying whatever he said to his teammate, and he's just like, "Why?" He's just like, "I'm not even talking to you," and he got a technical for it. But yeah, no, I've seen clips on YouTube of like people getting technical fouls. I don't know if you've ever seen the one of Tim Duncan from years ago. He's just sitting on the bench laughing, and he got a technical for it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's annoying, honestly. I don't have another word to describe it or a better word. Because it just ruins the game to a certain extent, at least.
That and also the when refs call fouls or whatever in favor of like LeBron James, they'll call fouls in favor of him,
I say
and
I'm
it's just
I'm a
like
diehard
that would.
LeBron fan, but it's impossible to watch a game that he's playing in and him not get a call that he shouldn't have got at least once or
Right.
twice.
I mean, there was that one game against the Celtics where he did, and he got slapped on the hand, and they didn't call anything, and then he
He
like
lost
was
his mind.
showing off his he was showing off his like acting skills on the court.
But
But
on some real
yeah,
notes, we're done with All-Star break now. Games coming back on tonight, and I guess we'll talk about them first because they're for some reason like pretty much still the hot topic just because they're the Lakers with LeBron, AD, and Russell and a couple of the others off the trade, Malik Beasley, and
well, they
but
got rid of Russ.
yeah, they did get rid of Russ, or I mean
But
Russell, D'Angelo Russell,
oh. Yeah,
but
I mean D'Angelo Russell. I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's not bad, but I don't know. I don't know how much he'll make it like difference.
I think
Honestly,
well as long to me as long as LeBron and AD are both playing, which is obviously not
no.
reliable
Well,
that they're
AD
both on the
doesn't play.
court, but if they are both playing and they have him, he's a great pickup to me. Honestly, I mean, you're getting rid of Westbrook, who's the turnover highlight machine. And
And
honestly, I
it's
don't have
just
a
like
problem with Russ either. I really liked him. I had high hopes, but with D'Angelo Russell now, I think he's a great third man to have with if both of those two are playing anyway.
yeah, he's solid. I mean,
Because he can give you
he's
20, 30 points any given night.
yeah, he's arguably like a border. I mean, he's been an all star before, but he's like borderline all star every single year, and he's like yeah, he's a good player. I just don't know because it's pretty much going to be D'Angelo and LeBron because Anthony Davis doesn't know how to stay healthy. So I don't know. I don't know how that team is gonna. And then LeBron might go to the Orlando Magic when his supposedly the Suns a top 10 pick coming into next year.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Honestly,
yeah, I don't know.
everything stayed the same pretty much in the East since the last time we talked about it too. I mean, you got the Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, and Cavs as the real contenders.
Yeah, I mean the team that's gonna be interesting now is some of the teams just got extra players
Yeah,
for the deadline, like which is the 4, 5, and 6 seeds in the West. You have the Clippers who just got Westbrook. We'll see how he does there with that team. You got the Suns, and I don't know, is Westbrook actually going to be their starting point guard? I'm not
yeah.
sure, and I
I
feel like
don't.
he shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be, and I think if he starts or if he comes off the bench really depends on if he works out for the Clippers or not. Because if he's a starter, I don't like the Clippers' odds. But if he's a bench player or if Kawhi or somebody needs rest, he can come out and take those minutes. But if he's a starter, I don't see it working out great. But I could see it really benefiting the Clippers if he's a bench player getting like 20 minutes a night or 25 minutes a night.
Right, I was gonna say, and I wouldn't even throw him in there in like crucial, like it's close game, we need a bucket. I wouldn't even put him out there because he hasn't proven himself to be that guy anymore where he can make a, I mean, he's never been like a good shooter, but like he's never, um,
That's why
this
you
year
got Kawhi and
specifically,
Paul
he's been
George.
bad. Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather have the ball in their hands, not Russell's hands. I'd rather their starting point guard right now, according to depth chart, is Terrence Mann, who I don't really know much about, but and they also have Bones Highland. I didn't even realize they picked him up. Um,
I
but
do still got high hopes with the Mavericks too. If you're a betting
yeah, the
person,
Mavericks Suns.
if you're a betting person, that's a great sleeper to pick to get to the finals or win the finals. Because even though they've lost both their games since Kyrie's came there, both of them are putting up the numbers that they need to put up.
It's more like it's more Kyrie's attitude, I guess, than anything else. Is all you have to worry about. They also have Christian Wood. I forgot he even exists.
Yeah, and
He's good.
he's a very good shooter.
Yeah, he's a good shooter. Well, yeah, for a big man, he averages 18 and 8. Yeah, the Mavericks are definitely a solid team that could make a good playoff push. They're like a Chargers of the NBA.
And then on the, well, for talking, I guess sleepers, for me anyway, it's the Mavericks in the Western Conference, and then go to the East. For me, honestly, it's probably the Knicks, because I wouldn't even
Knicks.
consider the Cavs like a sleeper pick.
No, that's what their team with Donovan Mitchell and all them. Yeah. Can't count out the Heat. I don't like the Heat, but they do have a good team. I don't know how they're a 7 seed.
And they just got
Same with the
Kevin Love
Raptors.
too.
Yeah, they did. Although he's like 40. But there's also the Raptors. I know the Raptors are barely in it. I don't know how they're as bad as they are because their team really isn't bad with Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. That team should be a lot better than 28 and 31.
Well, if they make the playoffs, then they definitely got potential to be a even more of a sleeper pick than like the Knicks or Heat would be.
Yeah, especially with that record. Washington, I'm surprised Washington's even in there because I don't feel like they're not a good team. At least I don't think they are.
I know Bradley Beal hasn't been putting up the numbers he was like 3, 4, 5 years ago, when everybody was like kind of getting really hyped up about him again.
He's still their best player. I don't know why he's so loyal to Washington because obviously he's never left. He's been there his entire career, but I don't know why because they've never really done much with him there. Though I think they went like the Eastern second round or something, and they lost to like the Celtics. It's like the best they've ever done.
So they're clearly not going to be able to do anything, because this is no hate on him, but I just look at Bradley Beal like Damian Lillard light, basically.
I mean, he's not bad. Obviously, Bradley Beal's good.
Yeah, he's just. I look at him as like a slightly lesser Lillard.
Damian. Yeah. I mean, he's putting up 23 and 5 this year. Also, I forgot they do have Kyle Kuzma, who's having a really solid year, and Kristaps Porzingis, who's also a solid player as well. Yeah, Kristaps probably. I don't think he made the All-Star team, but he probably could have. He averages 23 and 9. Kuzma.
As far as I'm aware, he's been pretty healthy this year too.
Kristaps. Yeah, he's not hurt. It's Bradley Beal, Kuzma, and Kristaps. That's their team. They're all putting up over 20 a game. Yeah, I mean, and then you have the Bulls. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I know Lonzo Ball. They said he's probably not. Actually, I think they said he's not coming back this year.
Yeah, no one knows what's going on with him at all.
I think they said he's like an unknown knee injury that they don't even know what's going on.
Which kind of sucks, because he's just a really solid player, pretty all around.
He's a good playmaker.
But your Kings, I know you like your Kings, and they keep playing good.
Yeah,
Fox just
they're
had another
third
big
out
game
west.
before the All-Star break.
They play tonight. They play against the Trailblazers. They probably should win that game, but who knows? Um, yeah, hopefully these teams don't really move. The only team I want to see get kicked out maybe is the Warriors and have the Jazz sneak in, which it's only a game difference. That's definitely possible.
Just because I'm a diehard LeBron fan, I want them to go on a run in these last games.
I don't really care about the Lakers.
I know they've won
I want
enough
the
finals.
Jazz. I want the Jazz to sneak in. Lowry Markkinen, and who else is on that Jazz team? Honestly, I don't remember.
Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, Jordan Clarkson's on the team. What's his face on the team? Yeah, Colin Sexton. I was supposed to say, isn't he there? Although he's hurt. But yeah, I don't know. If the Jazz team, because they were projected to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, and the fact that they're like making a playoff push is kind of nice.
And I think the Pelicans are honestly might fall out of the playoff or play in.
You think so?
I think there's a chance because since Zion's been hurt, they've been like kind of in free fall.
I remember they were the number one team out west at one point.
Yeah, but like 40 games into the season.
Yeah. How long is Zion out for?
Well, he was supposed to come back or at least be getting ready to come back like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then they said something else happened where he, not serious, but they said something happened with his hamstring, so he's going to be out a couple more weeks, like some kind of strain on his hamstring.
It's weird because I feel like that team, even though he's not playing, he's obviously a big important part of that team. I feel like they should still be good even without him there because they still have CJ McCollum, who's everyone knows is like the right hand guy to Damian when he was in Portland. They have Brandon Ingram, who's definitely a way above average player.
All-star by himself.
Right. They have Jonas Valanciunas, who's definitely a solid center. They have Herb Jones, he's not going to do much offensively, but he's a good defender. He's a solid player. And then they have Trey Murphy, who I think is here rookie. No, he's a second-year player, but he's not bad. He's decent. He came in second place in the dunk contest.
I mean, yeah, they still have a good team. They might not fall out. They shouldn't anyway, but I could see it possibly happening.
I guess what I was trying to get at is even without Zion, again, yes, Zion makes their team a lot better, but with those players as the starting lineup, that still should be a team that gets you in the playoffs. I feel like they shouldn't fall out. If they do fall out, something's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, they have no excuses to not at least stay in the 8 to 10 range.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
But
they should.
The other team that's honestly been, I don't know if even underperforming is the right word, but the Timberwolves, because I know Towns has been. What's going on with him? Do you know? I know he's.
Yeah. He is. Let me see. They said he's going to return to the final like 10 to 15 games of the season. And that was as of a week ago.
Well, that should be huge for them, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. I mean, because he's obviously arguably their best player, or is their best player. And now you have Kyle Anderson playing power forward, which is a major downgrade.
Because Anthony Edwards has been balling out this season.
Yeah, he's good.
So if you get
Anthony Edwards,
a lot of people think since they got Rudy Gobert and stuff, there's no reason that team shouldn't like at least compete with anybody in the West if they're healthy.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I find Rudy Gobert. I think he's overrated, if I'm being honest. But I've always thought that, and I know there's other people who have thought he's overrated as well, like Shaq. But
I think he's overrated, but he's definitely a guy you can rely on for defense and give you some rebounds.
Yeah, he's definitely good for defense. I mean, he always is like on all defensive teams. But like he doesn't. I don't know. I just feel like he's not. I don't know. The way people make him sound is like he's ridiculously good, and he averages like 11 points a game. And I know that's not what he's not an offensive guy, but I just remember Shaq making fun of him. He's like, "How's this guy considered like an all-star or one of the best centers in the NBA, averaging 12 points a game?"
Yeah, if he averaged 20 or something, it'd be a whole different story.
Yeah.
Because you're getting all those minutes, but that's honestly, for me, if you got anything else to add before we switch over to college.
Not too much. No, not really, because I know the trade deadline just happened. Obviously, we still haven't seen. I mean, we've seen Kyrie play, but I don't. Kevin, I don't. He hasn't played a single game yet for the Suns, has he? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
It's going to heat up, though, when everybody's playing again. Whenever KD comes and starts playing with the Suns.
Yeah. See how the Suns do. See how the Clippers are with Russ. Again, I think he should be like a six-man and not actually play important minutes either, because he's not clutch.
With the trades and shit, though.
Mavericks.
Yeah, that's the last thing I have to add is that with the trades that have happened, obviously Clippers, Suns, Mavericks, and Lakers are the teams to see what happens with trades pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah, they got all the big ones.
But other than that, that's all I got for that. If you want to, we can switch it over to NCAA.
Sure.
Because I know we were talking about Houston before we started recording. Obviously, they don't have the best schedule or anything, but close loss to Alabama, 1 point loss to Temple, which isn't a good loss, but obviously they've been the most consistent team. I don't think they are necessarily the best team or anything, but they've definitely been the most consistent, so I don't have a problem with them being the new number one.
Right, and I think before we started, I think I said I'm pretty sure they have the best record in terms of win to loss ratio, I believe, in the country, or at least they have the least amount of losses in the country, so it makes sense for them to be the number one team.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's the division that they're in isn't like, it's not incredibly tough. It's not that they play a bunch of bad teams in there. They're not in like some random mid-major division, but they're not in like a Big 12 or a Pac-10 or a Big East or whatever division either. Big 12. But yeah, like we said, they've still had some quality wins. I believe, like you said, they beat did they beat Virginia?
Yeah, they beat Virginia.
Yeah, they lost to Alabama. That's what it was, I think.
Yeah. I think,
so,
did I even say Virginia, who they beat originally? I might have fucked that up, but yeah, either way.
Yeah. They beat Virginia, who's obviously a top team, although Virginia lost yesterday to Boston College.
Still a top 10 win, though.
Boston College, I don't know what the record is, but I saw that this season they've beat 3 ranked teams. So I don't know. I don't know how good they are, though. But that's besides the point. But yeah, no, Houston being the number one team right now makes sense. I know it was Alabama, but they lost.
Purdue's had, I think, is it 2 losses in their last 5 games now, too?
Yeah.
Shit, they've had 3 losses in their last 5.
I think.
Indiana, Northwestern, and Maryland.
Right around the corner from where some of these divisional conference tournaments start up. Obviously, it's the smaller ones that go first because people don't pay as much attention to them. But some of those teams down there are in those conferences to look out for. I mean, you got Charleston, Oral Roberts, Southern Miss, Florida Atlantic, Kent State. Those are all some mid-major schools that could potentially make the tournament and also, picked for upsets if they make the tournament as well.
Yeah, you were just talking about Oral Roberts. So what's the guy's name that you said led in scoring?
He's Max Abus is his name. He's still on that team. He's like 5'10".
But he's just a scorer. Because I love picking dark horses, and Oral Roberts is a good one. And we were talking about Florida Atlantic too. That's probably, depending on who they play, obviously. You probably wouldn't pick them to beat Alabama or Houston. Anybody in like the top 5 or 10.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't go up against them in the first round anyway, because if Florida Atlantic makes it, the lowest seed they'd probably get would be a 12, and Alabama and Houston would be a 5 seed
Yeah.
anyway. But, yeah, any of those teams, if they make it, wouldn't be lower than a 13. Like, even Southern Miss, I remember keeping an eye on them at one point during the season. I don't know where they are in the, like, record-wise now, but they'd probably be like a 12 or 13 seed if they made it anyway, so.
The team that I've got to watch a handful of games this year, they've been kind of inconsistent, but I think honestly Xavier, they're right next to each other too in the rankings. Xavier and Indiana are both sleepers, especially Indiana, because granted, I think they've lost 2 of their last 4, or 2 of their last 3, but Indiana, honestly, the second half of the season have been playing the best basketball I've seen them play in a while.
I like Xavier. I've always liked them as a school for basketball anyway. I actually have a Xavier sweatshirt. But anyway, yeah, no, I like Xavier. I remember a couple years ago they got the 1 seed one year, which is never really happens. But yeah, I'll pull for Xavier 100%.
They're to me they're just a good sleeper team to pick this year to like an Elite 8 or something.
I haven't really paid attention to them just because I don't even know anyone on their team because they've never really have anyone like that's top tier on their team. But well, they're actually a really good shooting team. Looking at their numbers right now, they shoot as a team 50% from the field and close to 40% from 3 as a team. That's really high.
Yeah, so they can kind of just start lighting shit up because they've won a couple of the bets that I've picked them on this year. Picked them like 3 times on money lines.
Their best player is definitely Zach Fremantle. But yeah, I mean,
I just noticed this too. A lot of their not all, but a lot of their losses are close.
they're like 20-7 or something. Oh, 20-8. I think they must have just lost.
Yeah, they lost to Marquette by 1, Villanova by 1, Butler by 2. Creighton kind of blew them out.
Yeah, Creighton beat them badly.
But 7-point loss to Duke, 4 to
yeah, all their losses are by 10 or under, with the exception of 1 game. I mean, they lost again to Villanova, which is a bad loss because I don't think Villanova's good. But yeah, I mean, they're still going to probably make the March Madness anyway.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're ranked 16, so they're pretty much a lock at this point.
I mean, they're going to drop because they just lost to Villanova with the blood drop to like the 20s.
But we're about, a week away now from conference championships and everything?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's like the random ones, like the Ohio Valley Conference or something random will probably start up soon.
Yeah, because most of these teams, I'm guessing, have 3 or 4 games left before conference playoffs start.
Yeah, and I like to just pay attention to the teams that have never made March Madness in those like regions that hopefully they make it. So obviously all the teams like the important ones have all made it before, but yeah.
It'd probably be a long video, but we'll have to both pick our brackets or something for a video.
Sure. Yeah, that would take a very long time. I'll do probably multiple, but I'll do like a serious one actually for that because obviously I'll have like one where I have like a 10 seed winning it all. But
yeah, we'll both do our serious brackets. I mean, I always put a couple upsets in there. I usually don't have anything super insane past like the Elite 8, but I usually, even in my serious bracket, I like to find one or two dark horses that.
Sweet 16 always has to have I think a 12 seed or higher in it. It always has to at least have one, because I think it happens every year where there's at least 12 or higher that goes to the Elite Sweet 16.
Yeah, and even if not, I know 12 seed's usually the typical number. I know there's some crazy stat where a 12 seed has always beat either a 4 or 5 seed in every bracket.
I would say, yeah, I mean, your 12s are usually the ones people pick for like to make a run. You'll have some people do like a 13, but yeah, it's usually your 12 seeds that can make a push. You have the very rare instance where you have a 15 seed doing it, which has happened like twice in the past like 2 years.
And then when Virginia had the injury in a 16, finally beat a 1.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Because I don't care about the one injury. I don't care if it's your best player or not. There's no reason that Virginia team should have lost to a 16 seed.
Yeah. Plus, that game wasn't close. They got killed. But it was actually funny. The next season, they won the championship.
Did they?
Although they did. They beat Texas Tech. Although I remember that game, there was a very bad call made in favor of Virginia at the end of the game. It was a double dribble, and they didn't call it.
I don't even.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that ended up being the guy he hit a corner 3-pointer after that, which gave them the lead, and they won because of it with like barely any time left. If I'm not mistaken, or something. It was something. I forget what the call was. Maybe that was a different call where they called a foul or something. I don't remember. It was just like a bunch. There was like 2 really bad calls that were made that were in favor of. It was a missed call, I should say, made, and there was a bad call made. That both went in favor of Virginia in that game. Because I wanted Texas Tech to win that. So I remember they had Jarrett Culver, who I thought was going to be really good in the NBA, and he's absolutely nothing in the NBA. I don't even know if he's on a basketball team right now.
Well, with that too, we'll definitely be doing draft shit for NFL and NBA after the season's over.
Yeah, I like doing mock draft stuff and looking into drafts.
Well,
Yeah, Jarrett Culver's in the G League.
oof. I mean, not really oof. It's still a high level, but either way, I know when you expect somebody to be a great NBA talent, or a good NBA talent at least.
Well, especially considering he was drafted 6th overall. Yeah, it's kind of bad.
Do you got anything else to add for college?
Not really, no. It's more got to see everything play out.
Yeah.
Conference tournaments right around the corner for some of the regions. And then, I don't know when March Madness, or Selection Sunday, I mean, is. If I had to take a random guess, it's probably on like the either 12th or 19th, or somewhere over there. Probably the 19th.
Just because I'm way more into college sports, honestly, the March Madness and college football playoffs are my two favorite things to usually pick and watch, but especially
But
March Madness, honestly.
Yeah, I'll just sit there and watch it all day. I don't care.
It don't matter who's playing.
Yeah.
But honestly, like you said, we'll do some mock drafts for NFL and NBA. Obviously, we got March Madness now, about 2 weeks away probably for the start of it.
Right.
But we will have all this shit coming soon. I don't got any closing stuff to say. You got anything else?
Jeffree Star just made Taylor Lewan a free agent.
That's right. You heard it here first, folks. Shout out Jeffree Star. A real one. All right. Well, we'll get all this stuff up as it comes out. And I know I've been slacking really bad on being free and doing this TikTok shit because we kind of got some ideas we want to do. But keep an eye out for that. We will definitely be getting them up at some point. Promise y'all. And that's it for this week, I guess. We'll see you all next time. Peace.